The neighborhood that you may have never heard of. $1 million mansions, Puget Sound views, sunsets, military bunkers, and a bridge that might fall down. Let's talk about Magnolia. Magnolia isn't the first place you move to in Seattle. You live in other neighborhoods and other areas, and then you discover Magnolia. Someone even said you graduated from Magnolia.
They're looking for that very rural feel in the middle of the city. You're 10 to 30 minutes from the middle of downtown Seattle. The idea of getting onto that island is a bit of a challenge.
And it's funny that you're calling it an island, right? Because it kind of is.
I mean, you're only going there if you have a reason to go there. It does make it a little bit more quiet, but that's something that people love.
People either love Magnolia or they hate it. There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of restaurants and bars.
I've heard the nickname Magnolia.
Oh, I've not heard of that.
Yeah.
No offense, Magnolians.
No, because I mean, I love Magnolia.
But some people like that.
It does have a quieter pace.
Welcome to another episode of Seattle Living and Wealth Building. As you know, we've been diving deep into all the Seattle area neighborhoods, East Side neighborhoods, to give you the real deal of what it's like to live in those neighborhoods and whether you want to be there or not. Hidden gems, things to watch out for. So we're going to continue with that and dive deep into the neighborhood that you may have never heard of, Magnolia. You may have heard of Queen Anne, you may have heard of Capitol Hill, but we have this amazing bluff neighborhood. Some call it a coastal neighborhood. Is that true? Well, it's the first time you're going to hear about it. But you got $1 million mansions, Puget Sound views, sunsets, military bunkers, and a bridge that might fall down. Let's go. Let's talk about Magnolia. So we've got a very special guest, four-time guest.
Thank you, Maynard.
40-time guest, Justin Day, and four-time guest, Lisa Lakin. Woo, woo.
Woo, woo.
All right, so between me and Lisa, we've got about 30 years of living experience directly in the neighborhood of Magnolia. And we've got super real estate agent Justin Day, who's sold many houses in Magnolia. So we're gonna dive deep. All right, without further ado, because I've talked too much, let me introduce you and welcome back, Lisa.
Thank you. Yeah, happy to be here and excited to be on this podcast also because Magnolia has a special place in my heart. Having lived there for 16 years and a couple of different chapters in my life. So, yeah.
Amazing. All right. Well, tell us about, first of all, what makes, Magnolia a place that you chose to live, whenever that was.
Yes, so that was back in 2003, and I was a single mom. My son, James, was 9 years old, and he wanted a dog. And we had been renting previously in Eastlake and then in Queen Anne. And it was just time where he was going to be old enough to actually help take care of the dog, right? So we set out looking for a place, and actually Magnolia wasn't on my radar at all at that point. I was thinking I wanted to buy somewhere in Queen Anne, and obviously not like a big house or something. I think I was like a senior financial analyst at the time. But, anyway, I started looking and realized very quickly my money would go further in Magnolia, which was, pretty close to Queen Anne. So expanded my horizons and was able to get into a very nice brand new townhouse.
Which happened to be a source of our conversation in one of our
the
previous
original,
podcasts.
That was my first place I bought,
That's exciting. So for those who don't know, first of all, Magnolia is on the northwest of downtown Seattle. Anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on traffic. Yeah. Depending on where in Magnolia you're going to, right? So it's west of Queen Anne, it's south of Ballard. And the unique thing about Magnolia is that it's actually covered or surrounded by water on three sides. So super unique, right? You've got Elliott Bay on the south, you've got Puget Sound on the west, and on the north side, you've got Shoal Bay and the Lake Washington Ship Canal.
And even beyond that, you've got the railroad tracks on the east side. So it truly is like a very kind of separated part of the city, but just adjacent to Queen Anne.
Yeah. And then there's only 3 entries into Magnolia, which kind of makes Magnolia, a little bit of a hidden gem or, secret that not a lot of people necessarily think about the first time they think about Seattle.
Right.
It kind of has a similar vibe to West Seattle in some respects. It's its own little island, right?
Yeah.
And people either love Magnolia or they hate it. One of the two. I can guarantee anyone who lives there loves it. But the idea of getting onto that island is a bit of a challenge for some people.
Yeah,
And it's funny that you're calling it an island, right? Because it kind of is. But go ahead, Lisa.
I mean, you're only going there if you have a reason to go there, right?
Totally.
You're not like going to accidentally cut through Magnolia. Like that's not possible, right?
No.
So
Yeah.
it does make it a little bit more quiet, but that's something that people love.
Yeah. So I think that's what's wild about Magnolia, right? Is it's quite big. I don't even know what the geographical area is, but I think Discovery Park in the northwest corner is like 500 something acres. It's just massive,
It really
right?
is.
First of all. And I think that's also what allows for certain parts of the area have like incredibly wide streets. There's no power lines. This is like the southwesternmost area of Magnolia. And for perspective, you're looking at what single family homes that maybe average median price might be around like 1.75 million. I don't know. I'm just going to kind of throw that number out there. That's probably
even
realistic,
more,
right? Because you've got $5-6 million homes, but you can still get homes, that are maybe
Closer to
around
$1 million.
1.5, 1.6,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, I'm thinking of a client that I bought who bought like a more quote unquote modest home in that area, and they got it for 1.6 million.
Yeah.
Right. So you're right. Yeah.
So that definitely wasn't the area that I entered into. Buying my first home, I was on completely the opposite
Well, it was
side.
a townhouse, right?
Yeah, it was a townhouse, but it was on the east side of the hill. And I guess just for perspective, Magnolia has like basically a ridge that runs like north to south, right? So you're kind of either on the east side or the west side. And we were on the extreme east side, down by the railroad tracks.
Right.
Down
by the railroad tracks.
Literally
Yeah.
right across the street from the railroad tracks. So yeah, it was, but it was a great place.
It was a perfect place, right? And then we can talk about how that like parlayed into future investments. But like Justin, when you're thinking about some of the clients that you've helped, how would you describe Magnolia?
Yeah, well, I think you have to first look at it geographically, right? And to that point, it's just like a lot of other Seattle neighborhoods where you can be in Magnolia, but have a completely different style of living, access to different things, different price points for homes. There's areas where it's like a lot of townhouses and apartments, kind of on that northeast side of Magnolia, whereas you get more on the southwest side. We're talking some of the most beautiful houses in all of Seattle. And then you kind of have central Magnolia, which is a little bit more, family friendly, a little kind of more of a median or middle price point, right? So, I just feel like it can work for a lot of different types of people, but it's really just a matter of geographically where you're going to be. I mean, I remember I had a listing last year, very close to the Ballard Locks. And it was in a fantastic location that allowed people to be able to walk to Ballard and, the heart of Ballard in 10 or 15 minutes. Yet you're in Magnolia.
Right.
It's just such a really cool
pretty wild.
dynamic.
Yeah, that's something people don't realize. There's that fish ladder right there that you can walk right across the bridge and
without a doubt, ride a bike across or whatever it is.
Yeah, you can
walk your bike across.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Ride to the fish ladder.
Yeah, watch the ships go through the locks.
Totally.
That's pretty fun. Yeah.
So when you think of just let's talk about like what the stereotype of Magnolia is first. Give us a vibe of what that is when people first think of Magnolia.
I'll give you the stereotype.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Because I've never lived in Magnolia, but
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with it. But I feel like most people have the impression that Magnolia, and it's rightfully so, but it's very sleepy. There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of restaurants and bars. It's very unlike Ballard, which is right next to it, obviously. Right. So I think that's kind of the big stereotype that Magnolia gets.
Right. And it does have, I've heard the nickname Magnolia before.
I've not heard of that.
Yeah,
Have you heard of that?
Nope.
No, Magnolia. There we
so
go.
That,
Yeah. No offense, Magnolians.
No, because I love Magnolia.
But some people like that.
Trust
Yeah.
me. So, but you're right.
Well, the
it does
truth
have
is,
a quieter pace.
Yeah, and the truth is, like, that's exactly what a lot of people are looking for. Is they're looking for that very rural feel in the middle of the city. I mean, you're, as Maynard said, you're 10 to 30 minutes from the middle of downtown Seattle. depending on traffic, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's not a lot going on there, but it's very family friendly, very a great place to raise kids. Obviously,
It does live like a suburb in the city, and you can just, when you get there, the streets
There
are
you go.
wider, and in Queen Anne or Ballard or Capitol Hill, you're fighting for parallel parking everywhere, right? And like
good point.
trying to go spot it down the street, and there it's just like plentiful, and so it's just like a kind of like a sigh of relief. You've kind of entered a more calm,
very
state
walkable
in general.
very walkable. It's funny.
Walkable in the central part of Magnolia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people walk even on the west side
bluff,
of Magnolia.
Yeah, I always see what you're saying.
There are definitely
right.
pockets of nice walkability, and there are beautiful evening walks to be had for anyone who is willing to just go to the fringes. But people aren't necessarily just walking to the grocery store or to bars or this or that.
No. And
Yeah,
I should
it's not
clarify that.
not an active walking.
The walk
neighborhood.
score is very low.
Low walk score.
Walk score is low.
There are some pretty mean hills in there too.
But like you go to Discovery Park. I mean, people go to Discovery Park to walk their dogs all the time. It's such a hit.
Yeah. I think with Magnolia, I mean, I heard this where somebody said, and I think this is true, is that Magnolia isn't the first place you move to in Seattle. You live in other neighborhoods and other areas, and then you discover Magnolia.
Yeah.
And you're like, someone even said you graduate to Magnolia.
Interesting. Yeah, possibly.
So you kind of graduate there because you didn't know about it, right? And then maybe you wanted let's go from different age groups, younger, single, faster lifestyle, right? And so you were living in Capitol Hill or Ballard, and let's just say you're a professional couple who are moving here for the first time, and you got a lot of people think, Queen Anne. We heard Queen Anne is super close, right next to downtown Seattle. Keeps my commute. You have this upper part of Queen Anne that has grocery stores, and it's just a great place to walk, and it's very vibey.
Sure.
But then you find out that Queen Anne is kind of tight and dense, and also that parking can be tight. And then you go over to Magnolia.
Yes.
And you find this peaceful world where kids still have lemonade stands. You can bike on the street. And again, you get these wide streets. It blows my mind as someone who used to live in Magnolia, left Magnolia, then I go back to Magnolia, and you see these just a wide range of different houses, different architecture from Victorian to Craftsman to kind of mid-century to colonial to, I don't even know how to describe that home, but there doesn't seem to be an area for the most part that is look at that block of homes that was all built at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
And definitely all the houses, or not all, but it's a very well maintained area too. I feel like if you go to some other neighborhoods, you're going to see there's a nice house and there's kind of a not well cared for place, and it's just kind of this hodgepodge of things in certain areas, and it tends to be more consistent a little bit, at least on the west side.
It's definitely on the west side.
Yeah.
Another reason people move here too, though, is the schools are highly rated too. So that's why you maybe get the graduate to Magnolia, where you get young families starting a family, or start having kids for the first time. Highly rated public school system,
especially the elementary school.
Right.
Elementary and K through 8.
And then the ball fields, they're a centerpiece of the community. And there's all the Little League activity, and then people going to Red Mill Burgers after the games, and Potmonger pool,
swimming
huge.
Pool, right?
That's 1 of 2 outdoor swimming pools in the city. And
so let's kind of profile for a bit and talk about the families and what draws them there. So we've got you got the ball fields in the middle. Right. What are those? Just big ball fields where people gather and play?
There's organized sports, yes.
Have you spent any time in those ball fields?
Absolutely, yes.
We'll talk about that.
Many years. James played on Queen Anne.
Right,
Yeah. Well, James played Little League, so we'd go to games there.
Yeah, but for the audience who doesn't know, so you'd spend hours there, and it's a friendly place to be, and I don't know. Is it? Trying to.
You're not gonna. I mean, Magnolia is a place you're not going to see homelessness. You're not going to see, less desirable situations. It's very safe, very, walkable. But you go to a ballpark like that. I mean, it's just kids running around and happy people. And I think Magnolia is kind of like the epitome of like the Stepford Wives almost. There's that kind of a vibe to it. You know what I mean? Like not Stepford Wives, but that kind of a concept.
Yeah, you can get like Mayberry Street if you're really old. I don't even know what show that was, but like that's what you used to call the little village.
Sure.
So like the little village anchors the middle, right? And we call it, it's not the little village, but it is called the village. And so to kind of paint the picture of what makes Magnolia so quaint and safe at the same time is you've got a post office and you've got like a single drugstore and you've got like one grocery store in that area. You've got coffee shop, and you don't have a lot in the way of like choices of lots of different like restaurants. You got a hardware store.
Yeah, you're not going to get any of like the big box commercial stores. You're not even going to get like an Orange Theory or a Pure Bar, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like you're going to go to Ballard and Queen Anne for those kind of amenities. And I mean, there's like a QFC and a Whole Foods, but they're the tiniest mini versions of those grocery stores possible, right? But it really is kind of the mom and pop stores, like the Little Ace Hardware and individual run restaurants.
Farmers market. That's a huge draw though.
Yeah. And it's
very quaint. But
it's on Saturdays too, which is unique compared to other neighborhoods.
Yeah. Saturdays they close off a little safe section of the area, and another big thing about the village is like Halloween is really big for trick-or-treating. So it's one of those areas
for the businesses?
In the village, where the businesses make sure they have all kinds of candy, and again because it's so safe and concentrated.
Yeah, they do like a little parade, and
you
then
can knock out a bunch of candy.
Then the kids all go down to the Viewmont and those streets too, and trick or treat, and it's quite the scene. It attracts people from all over the city.
Yeah. So Viewmont's this boulevard of beautiful homes where kids can dream of full-size candy bars, and adults can walk by with their adult beverages hidden in their coffee containers, and be served wine by the wine by the trick-or-treat houses, right?
It's trick-or-treat for the parents as well as the kids.
It is. Yeah. That's funny.
Cool. What about like, obviously we're talking about all the reasons why Magnolia is such a cool place to live, and why, like the type of person who would really want to live there. But, the one big drawback that I know of that Magnolia has is its location, and as Lisa had mentioned earlier, train tracks that are kind of separating it from the rest of the city, and the fact that there's really only 3 in and out points, of which one of them is the Magnolia Bridge. I've heard rumblings that the Magnolia Bridge is going to go away forever. I've heard rumblings it would get rebuilt. Do you guys have any information about what that actually looks like and what the prognosis looks like?
Yeah, there's a few different plans out there, I believe. I think Magnolia itself is pitching for the bridge to be replaced.
I'm sure they would.
In the same like location that it currently is, which would be a 3 to 5 year project, unfortunately. But I mean, no matter what they do, it's going to take some time. But some like lower approaches, maybe going up Armory Way with a lower bridge. But all those other alternate approaches would require reconfiguration of some other streets and things, right? So kind of disrupt. There's going to create some kind of disruption, but.
Yeah, so like no official plan yet, right? There's a lot of talk still.
But it's in the plan to be done, I think, but there's just a couple of other competing.
Budget problems are an issue, right? So I believe it's one of the top bridges if funding is available. So we're looking at maybe like a 2027 or later project to actually do it, if in fact it gets funded.
Yeah, I've just heard like we're talking about, or I mentioned earlier about how West Seattle kind of has that similar vibe where people either love it or they hate it. It feels like you're on an island, right? Well, when the West Seattle Bridge closed down for what was that, 2 or 3 years? I mean, it was a huge disruption, and Magnolia is probably going to have a very similar type of disruption if that bridge does close down for any sort of period
and it
of time.
did get damaged with the Nisqually earthquake, and it was closed temporarily during that time while they could retrofit it. So then everyone had to go through those other pinch points. So, I mean,
that's a good point. So for the audience, don't worry, the bridge is not going to fall down. They check it out a couple times a year. It's structurally sound. Yes, there are concrete pieces falling off, but they're now caught by nets. So no worries, everybody. The Magnolia Bridge is going to be fine.
I didn't know that.
Did they also think the West Seattle Bridge was going to be fine until it shut down for 3 years?
I don't know.
That sounds like the
That's
viaduct,
exactly true.
right.
But like, like to also help, like, I don't know, paint the picture. Like Lisa and I used to live in Magnolia right by the bridge. And we had a moment pre-COVID in 2019 where we had like nice rooftop. This is like the southeastern part of Magnolia. And we lived in this 3-story home, right? The second place that we lived in Magnolia together. And you had these beautiful views of downtown Seattle. But this was the time also when people, right, would commute. So people would go on that Magnolia Bridge. They would commute to Expedia, which is not very far. They would commute to downtown Seattle, Amazon, right? We weren't in this post-COVID world of work from home. So I remember turning the corner, like stuck. Bridge, like crawling down that bridge, inching along the way. So, one day Lisa and I said, okay, traffic sucks already. Wait till the bridge comes down. Traffic's going to suck even more. Right. And that was one of our impetuses to actually move out of the area. And here we are 6 years later.
The other was that we became empty nesters, so we were ready to move on and do something else.
But it was a big factor.
100%.
It was a huge factor.
But that's something we were just considering, and it just like helped prompted us to move out of the area. But so we could be talking about the Magnolia Bridge being done for like 10, 15, 20 years. Who knows?
Right.
Right. Who knows? Yeah.
One thing is tough, I think, with Magnolia too, just like location-wise, is if going east-west across the city is tough. So if you are working in Bellevue, or you have to be taking your kids to Magnuson for soccer or something like that. Like that
would be a nightmare.
There you go. Go anywhere across the city, and you ever picked up that?
It's your microphone.
That mic, I think, just in case. Yeah. It's just the it's just the puffy.
Cap.
The cap. Is that going to be an issue, Jay?
I think that'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Microphone check 1 2 1 2. All right, we're good, folks. So we'll continue on. But 100% correct is that you can, like, it could literally take you 40 minutes to get from Magnolia to Interstate 5 going through.
Right. And then within Magnolia, Magnolia is deep, right? So if you're down on the west side, down on Perkins Lane or something like that, to get out of Magnolia could be a 15-minute excursion. So I think it's one of those, like, it's just a major consideration. You have to think about the commute if you're considering living there and what your lifestyle looks like.
That's the beauty of it, right? It's tucked away and people don't go there. And when you're there, you're in this like beautiful, peaceful enclave. And then otherwise, if you have to get and commute to the east side, right, it's going to be, or anywhere through like downtown or over to Magnuson Park, which is northeast of Seattle. Yeah. Well, you're going to struggle.
Commute is interesting though, because everyone's commute is going to be different, right? So if you're going to downtown Seattle, it really isn't a bad commute.
No
right?
That's easy.
It's super easy.
But it is funny because if you have the need to go somewhere else, it can be a nightmare. And so even if you, let's say, commute to work in downtown Seattle, and you have friends that live in Wedgwood, you would never go visit your friends.
Right,
you would not want to do that. It would be a big
you would choose not to go, probably.
Totally.
So you might be making lifestyle decisions based on how hard it's going to be to get somewhere.
Absolutely.
Good point.
Yeah.
Or you just have to time it too with the traffic. So
I mean, that's even true with like us talking about like things to do, right? Like when Lisa and I lived in Magnolia, right? Again, this is like 2019 and earlier. Right, we would go, okay, there's nothing to do here. Where are we going to go out, right? And we would go out to Ballard because it's super convenient. Right. Ballard has like tons of hot spots, but we wouldn't go to Capitol Hill.
Because getting over.
And now we live in Capitol Hill.
Right. That's true. And so that's, I mean, there maybe isn't much nightlife to be said. Like places are going to close even on the weekends by 9 or 10 p.m.
Yeah.
But it is a very easy Uber to just get right over to Ballard. So, it's, you have accessibility to things. You have the huge Fred Meyer right there in Ballard, where you have like 6 feet of ketchup versus like one selection of in the small KFC. So.
That was your go-to
like where you go
store.
Stock up.
Right.
I mean, I went to the KFC mostly, but then I would go to the Fred Meyer for some big stock.
Let's not forget we have Metropolitan Market which is awesome. That is in the northern part of Magnolia. Right? And that just shows like, are there any grocery stores? Yes, we got an Albertsons, we've got a Metropolitan Market, and we've got a QFC, and in Interbay.
It's right across in
the village
hardware store, right across the Buffalo.
And then Interbay, you have Whole Foods,
Yeah.
So there's actually 4 grocery stores all within,
Right.
in theory, 10 to 15 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, not bad for you folks deciding whether or not you're going to be stuck with one grocery store.
That's definitely not the case.
You got plenty of choices.
Right.
Yeah. You got all kinds of things available. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say the commutes are probably the biggest thing.
The commutes in and out of Magnolia.
In
Within
and out of
Magnolia,
Magnolia.
you can drive
Yeah.
and there's no traffic.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's a typical, I mean, I know you guys have a dog, Kenji, right? So if you were living in Magnolia still, where would you take Kenji for a walk if you were to do that? Because I know it's a very desirable place to do that.
All right. Well, let's ask Lisa,
Yes.
who had
Yeah,
a dog.
Tasha,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, so I
Grew
used to
up
have
there.
a Samoyed. Yeah, so the bluff. I mean, to me, that is just like heaven. Like, it's so just outstanding. You know,
Yeah.
you get there and it's just like, wow, you're elevated on this bluff, looking out at Elliott Bay, Puget Sound, across to Bainbridge, ferries. You can see Mount Rainier. I mean, it's just stunning, right?
It's actually funny you say that because Joanne and I used to drive when we first moved to Seattle. We were always so enamored with Magnolia and specifically like driving all the way up. We used to drive all the way up to Discovery Park through that west side. And just we'd be living in West Seattle and drive there just to go for a drive
Well,
around.
that's not too bad. You would take the
that's-
99.
It wasn't
pop
too
out.
bad, no.
Yeah.
Right. It
But I
just
mean,
shows you how
that's
nice
cool.
it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, we drove there just specifically to
Yeah.
Right.
There
gawk
really
at
is no
houses.
neighborhood. There really is no Seattle like neighborhood quite like Magnolia, right? I think that's the thing. You can get these multi-million-dollar, like incredible water views,
Totally.
right, for cheaper prices in most areas.
Well,
Let's put
when
it that
you-
way. But let's not say they're not.
Yeah, when
Right.
you look at the most expensive real estate that we have in Seattle proper, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you've got areas like Laurelhurst and Windermere, they're very expensive. You've got Washington
Park.
Park and Madison Park, and you've got parts of Capitol Hill. Like there's that's kind of it. Other than Magnolia, and Magnolia's houses though are just totally different, and they're very grand and at the same time very perfect. You know? Like
They do. It's very manicured and
Yeah.
like they look like they're houses on individual lots. They're not all like kind of like mashed together.
But then
It's incredible.
But it's funny
Yeah.
because you have that, and then still in a beautiful area, you have on the northwest side of Magnolia, you can have houses that are a little over $1 million.
Yeah.
One thing I just think is awesome about the whole thing. I mean, even though you have different sections, what parts that are more affordable, parts that are the extra grand places, but there are just views to be had almost from everywhere because of the nature of the hill. And so you may not have a water view, but you've just got this amazing territorial view, of the city. If you're on the east
Downtown
side, you
Seattle.
can see from Fremont down to Mount Rainier, sometimes like a 180 from a lot of places. So it's really, pretty special.
That's incredible. Like that's Magnolia, right? You go up a hill after you cross the train tracks. You peak, then you go down the hill, and now you're in the middle where the village is, and then you go up again, and then you're on this other crest, right? So sometimes people on the west side looking east think they're looking at Queen Anne. They're just looking at the other side of Magnolia. I mean, that's wild. And then you're on that eastern bluff, and you can look at downtown Seattle. Like one of the things that we were fortunate to have, right, was this rooftop, and we would just sit there with planes on the flight path going overhead. You've got Mount Rainier, you've got downtown Seattle. It just seemed like, wow, this is like heaven.
But you can even be on that western bluff and have views of downtown Seattle.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the listing that we have currently
Correct.
right now.
Yeah.
In the Briarcliff neighborhood.
Yeah.
Seriously. Huh.
Yeah.
And then just go down to Discovery Park, and it's a whole different, the views down there. If you go to down those trails to the beach and by the lighthouse, I mean, it's
A lighthouse.
coastal.
The coastal neighborhood.
Yeah,
Coastal
it is.
neighborhood
That
of
is part of the
Magnolia, like I
coastal
talked
neighborhood,
about.
so-
You
Yeah.
keep talking about Discovery Park, but what is Discovery Park? Why is it such a big part of Magnolia, or why is it something that's even desirable?
Yeah, well, 550 acres.
It's the
That's a
largest
lot.
park in Seattle.
Largest park
Is it
in
really? I didn't know
Seattle.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, largest park in Seattle.
I think there are about 12 miles of hiking trails within the park itself. There's like a big loop trail, and then there's ones that go down to.
Yeah.
It kind of comes to a point, and so like you can take the South Beach Trail or the North Beach Trail, which are both amazing. The North Beach is my favorite because you're looking across to Shoal Shoal, to that
Puget
side,
Sound, right?
and you can see the boats coming in and out, going to the
Cool.
ship, entering the ship canal. So that's just a pretty cool view there.
Picturesque eagles soaring overhead.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a like a place like no other in that you kind of go in and you like are in the park and it's like dense forest.
Yeah. But it's interesting because
but
you're
it's
not going to have a lot of people come from other parts of the city to go to Discovery Park because it's hard to get to.
I don't know.
Well,
about
I
that.
disagree with that because you have people that drive to North Bend or Tiger Mountain to go hiking, and so you can kind of get in there.
But I'm just saying, if you're going to go for a quick 30-minute walk or something like that, you're not going to do that. You're going to go to somewhere that's much more
easily
100%.
accessible.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Even if you live in Magnolia, that's not just like a quick 10-minute walk. Because they don't also allow cars in there. That's one thing that they've done to try to preserve the beauty and tranquility of the park is they don't allow public parking down there, and there are some spots, but they're designated for you have to get a pass and you have to have a baby or an elderly.
Can't you park in there's a parking lot, but then you have to go 2 miles to get down to the water, right? So
in
there's a
the
parking
middle
lot
of
within
the park,
Discovery
but
Park,
not down by the beach.
Right, you park and then you walk and get down there, right?
Absolutely.
But there's a lighthouse, and it was Seattle's Puget Sound's first lighthouse. It still operates. I didn't even know that.
Very cool.
Still flashing
Which
every
makes
5
sense
seconds.
because you actually have ships and boats going into the ship canal right there. So
it was a military fort or Fort Lawton at one point. There's still houses there. I was looking this up recently because those old residences were developed into houses about 2015 or so.
Correct.
Yeah, and I saw one currently on the market it was a general's residence from World War II, and it's on the market right now for $5.6 million, I believe.
Wow.
And it's listed for rent at 18,000.
Oh my gosh. How
per
many
month.
square feet are we talking?
The funny
about?
thing is
6,600 square feet.
Yeah, so
6,600.
Sometimes what's happening though is it might be the entire building, because I know that they were I'm not going to call them duplexes, but like multi-unit houses. And so at first they were all being sold off as like townhouses effectively. And I want to say they were priced a little over $1 million. It wasn't even that crazy, but really, really old historic places that were completely 100% renovated. Into really cool places.
I don't know how many single residences are, but there's one on the market for 3.5, one on the market for 6. So you probably had the mix of like townhouses and single.
There was a
the
lot
general's residence is not a townhome.
And to clarify, it wasn't a townhouse. It was
6,000
it's
square foot
probably the
townhouse.
building that has multiple units.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Speaking of World War II, I did not realize until I was preparing for this podcast that Fort Lawton was the second largest deployment point for troops going to Asia during the Second World War.
Wow.
And they processed over like 1 million troops through there. And it also had a POW camp where they held Germans. And
so that's wild. Yeah. Had no idea. Yeah.
I know.
I know there are bunkers that remain. There was a missile silo there at some point. Yeah. Like, anyway. Yeah. Wild. Nothing to worry about today, folks. Don't worry. You're not going to fall in any
just a little
spikes
history there.
while you're going through the hike.
Speaking of history, I guess with just Magnolia, I think another cool part that I love personally, having lived on the east side of Magnolia, is the Fisherman's Terminal area, and that's home to Port of Seattle's home where the commercial fishing fleet are allowed to go, and so that fleet is like the whole Alaskan fishing fleet. They don't maintain the fleet doesn't stay
Alaskan
up in
king
Alaska
crab,
or anything. Even other types too, like Seattle, like when Alaska was a territory, a lot of the investors here were supporting like fisheries and stuff, and so like all the infrastructure was built here. So they come back.
That is
every
cool.
year.
So speaking of, that's a hidden gem too for like a restaurant, right? There's a place called Chinook's, right, which is
Anthony's.
It's part of the chain of Anthony's restaurants, but it's great. I can tell you this, when we would go there for a happy hour, they have a great happy hour. It would be us who were, relatively young and some 60 to 70-year-olds enjoying happy hour. Blue plate specials. But then you have views of the marina. One of those boats is, I think, on the Deadliest Catch.
Well, you also have the cruise ship terminal right there as well.
Yeah, on the south end.
On the other side,
On the south end, yeah.
And Chinook's had the best chow pinot. I loved their chow pinot.
There you go.
It's delicious.
Chow pinot,
on a nice
hidden
cold
gem.
day, like a glass of wine and the chow pinot is perfect.
Yeah. At the Fisherman's Terminal, here's another hidden gem since we're talking, not the Fisherman's, but on the south end where there is, what do we call that area? It's by the cruise ship.
Oh, it's called
Smith Cove.
Smith Cove, yeah.
Smith Cove, yeah.
It's called the Smith Cove Terminal, isn't it? Or
Yes.
I don't know. There's
Makes
sailboats there, and but then there is a little restaurant called Maggie Bluffs.
Yeah.
Maggie Bluffs, again, direct views of downtown Seattle.
And that whole
on the
marina
water, on the
environment.
marina.
No.
Yeah, nobody ever goes there and knows about it.
Yeah.
So,
The views are
total hidden
Somehow
spectacular.
it's in business.
total hidden gem. Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody, but meaning it, you don't see it overcrowded.
Yeah.
You can bring your kids.
Well, it
I've
is
never been.
on a sunny day. It is crowded because that's when it's like.
That's when all the Magnolia locals.
Yeah, exactly.
They know what's up. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's also some nice biking trails that go through Magnolia as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, just,
Good point. Yeah. Good
that
point.
go
So-
right down there, like by that kind of Myrtle Edwards. It connects right in.
So let's think about if you're living there, okay, and you're looking for something to do on a Sunday afternoon.
Oh, Sunday afternoon.
Like, what would you do? I mean, if you're someone who actually likes physical activity or likes to do something outdoors, like forget about Discovery Park. Let's talk about what else is there to do.
I would just go for a big walk, right? Like meaning because you've got hills, you could walk the entire Magnolia Boulevard, which is not short by any means. You know, you could walk through nice little neighborhoods, walk down. You can land at one of our favorite little Mexican restaurant, hidden gems.
I love El Ranchon.
El Ranchon, El Ranchon. Love that place.
Yes.
They had like awesome
Family run.
chips and salsa, family run.
Yeah.
You got families in there. They might have margaritas there as well.
That are nice
They
and
for
strong.
sure do. But anyway, it's just that would be like a fun thing to do. You know?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that pops into
Oh,
my
the other
mind.
one I was going to talk about is
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, is taking that Elliott Bay bike trail. You could go hop on a Lime bike if you don't own a bike, right? Or I don't know, Uber bike or whatever they're called right now, and take the whole bike path all the way down to Myrtle Edwards Park and into downtown Seattle, which we've done
we did.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just be careful going back because you got a little hill, but I think they're all e-bikes now anyway.
Yeah.
So no pedaling needed.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that what you're going to talk about? Or
No.
All right.
I mean, the one thing, my golf background and whatnot.
oh my
Inner Bay
gosh.
is right there,
Yes.
right? And Inner Bay is a
I
really
meant-
fun,
Yeah.
close proximity. It's actually really interesting because in the city of Seattle, there's virtually no driving ranges.
Yeah.
You've got one at Jefferson Park, and if I'm not mistaken, that's the only other one. So
Right.
you got Jefferson Park, and you've got Inner Bay, which is right there.
Right. Yeah.
And it's got
definitely.
a nine hole par 3 golf course as well.
James, my son, used to work at Inner Bay.
Did he really?
Yeah, during high
Yeah.
school. Yeah.
Very cool.
He was on the golf team and worked at Inner Bay. So
Yeah.
that was fun.
That's a good point. Double decker, right?
Double-decker
You got
range, exactly.
you got
Yeah.
Top Shot, Top Tracers,
Top Tracer
Top
technology,
Tracers. You've got mini golf as well, 18-hole mini golf.
We've done mini golf
Yeah.
18 there
mini golf.
before.
It can tend to back up a
You
little,
can get
yeah.
a beer, but 9 holes. It's a great way.
And the most casual 9 holes too, like people in flip flops doing it. So, I guess
yeah.
what's nice about that is like if you're
Yeah.
not a super golf aficionado, it's like just kind of fun. You can actually go play the 9 hole.
Oh, you can be
With
a
very
complete
casually.
beginner,
Totally.
and it is, you are what you are.
Yeah. It's where beginners should learn how to
Yes,
play.
exactly.
That's the type
It's
of
a good spot. Yeah,
play your first round.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I think
that is
that's
really
the thing.
good.
Like Inner Bay does not have houses, but Inner Bay is essentially the area right kind of between Queen Anne and Magnolia, and like a whole corridor from, I don't know, the Taco Time up north, right, to the end of Magnolia, to the upper
Ballard
end of
Bridge,
to the
yeah.
Ballard
Yeah.
Bridge. And there's a Whole Foods there. There's soon to be pickleball courts there. There is a home goods store there.
I forgot about
Right?
the pickleball place
Yeah,
opening.
there is. If you need liquor, what's one of the liquor?
Oh, Total Wine.
Total
Yeah.
Wine.
Well, and there's also another wine place. I can't remember the name
Yeah.
of it right now. But
yeah. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
yeah.
Well, let's continue to talk about. Okay, we've talked about kind of some hidden gems a little bit. Any other hidden gems you would want to mention about Magnolia that people don't really know about? You can't kind of find online.
I mean, I just something that you wouldn't expect, I guess, is during the winter and snowstorms. Like they shut down Dravis. Dravis is very steep. I mean, there are some very steep streets, but like people see on the news always like the Queen Anne Boulevard or whatever that shuts down and people sledding down it. But Dravis is awesome.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good one. They close it down and it's safe and sled away.
That's right.
If there's enough snow and you got a Samoyed, they would
right.
jump through all the snow. Yeah, that's fun.
You could ski down it if you wanted, I guess.
You could, in theory, ski down it. Yeah.
Or snowboard.
Well, there's no real cocktail bars, so I was going to say hidden gem, but you could go to like Milady's Irish pub, or you could go to the Village pub, which is a cougar bar, sports bar. Cougar-owned sports bar.
I thought you were saying
Washington State Cougar-owned sports bar.
I took that the wrong way, maybe.
Yeah, you know. Well,
that's right.
Yeah, maybe there are other cougars there as well too.
Milady's is a popular one for people to meet for like a craft cocktail, maybe, or with like something.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, why don't we finish off today by kind of going through some rapid fire questions for the two. We'll call you guys experts of Magnolia.
Rapid fire. Let's go.
Yeah. So where's
Asadero? I'm just teasing. I said that multiple times in other episodes. How I love Asadero. So
Me too. So where would be your go-to spot for a coffee shop? Or would you just get it at home?
I liked Cafe Appassionato, which is like just pretty cute. But we're near Fisherman's Terminal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Really quaint.
God, what is the home of the velvet foam?
Uptown,
which is kind of an interesting spot. But
that's the one in the Village,
It's
right?
in the Village, yeah. So you could either go there and be around like green carpet and old tables, but good coffee.
Yeah.
Or go kitty corner into the Starbucks, which is always super busy. So
sure.
Yeah, just depends on what your vibe is. But
okay. So what about best spot for, once again, this doesn't need to be in Magnolia. It's more so
in the area.
If you lived in the area, what would that look like? So best place to go for brunch?
The Dish in Ballard.
Yeah.
I think you said that during our Ballard show, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a little hidden gem.
For me, I mean, I like going to Chinook's. If we just kind of want to keep it Magnolia, because they do have a nice little breakfast and it's...
Sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right.
Okay. Where is the best place to watch the sunset in Magnolia?
Well, something we haven't talked about for me is Magnolia Park, which is like if you're going up the Magnolia Bridge and then at the top, right before it takes a right to go to the Village, the park is just right there. And it has views that look like back at Elliott Bay and toward Bainbridge. But I think it's just like it's kind of a quieter place, but it's really beautiful, like beautifully maintained.
I agree. You could just walk the boulevard, just watch the sunset over the Olympic Mountains. I mean, that would just be fantastic. Otherwise, one of your rich friends' houses over there.
And what is something that locals only know about Magnolia? Something that me as a person who's never lived there would know.
I think that it was misnamed, actually.
See, that's a good one.
So
let's hear about it.
It was like the trees that are along the bluff are madrona trees or something, I think. But the early settlers thought they were magnolias, and so they called it Magnolia.
Didn't Dan Wilson, the Seattle Mariner, used to live in Magnolia?
Montlake.
No, he used to live in Montlake. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I would say that I think if you're buying a house, you got to watch out for potentially having some noise from the train tracks that you're not aware of.
For sure.
When you buy.
Yeah, good one there. And then for two people who live there, as long as you guys did, what's one favorite memory that stands out to you?
Well, sledding down the hill.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of funny because my favorite memory is sitting up on our rooftop on the southeast part of Magnolia on the bridge, like just hanging out. We would enjoy again, sunsets and looking at downtown, sitting there at night. But then the moment when we were just sitting up there and I said, I have a wild idea. What do you think about moving? And she goes, I've been thinking about it too. And like, boom, that like kicked things off. And then as a real estate agent with access to lockboxes, we were looking at houses the next day.
Yeah. That's funny.
So, yeah.
And I mean, obviously, you know, Magnolia was such a big part of your lives.
100%.
What do you guys miss the most about it?
I don't know. It was just, I missed, like, there was this chapter in my life that, like, is so meaningful to me. And so when I go back there, I just, I'm flooded with all the nostalgia, right? And the memories. And I do see all the kids and the families. And I mean, not just those, there's retirees, there's, you know, younger people too. But it does flood me with a lot of happy memories. And I mean, it is such a wonderful place that I'm really fortunate that I live there.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think we live in this beautiful neighborhood and just in North Capitol Hill, right? And we absolutely love it. We can walk to everything. There's restaurants, everything like that. But when I go into Magnolia and I'm meeting a client or selling a house, I'm like, man, it is just so like peaceful and quiet here. And these houses are just awesome. The streets are wide. It gives this kind of different feeling that I think is just something super cool and special about Magnolia.
Yeah, I will say it's probably one of the only neighborhoods I've ever gone into where I get that same feeling. It really feels like you're walking into something that's just totally different. It gives you a sense of like calm and serenity. You know,
so, serenity is a good word.
I said Stepford Wives earlier. That was the wrong. I was meaning to say Desperate Housewives. Like, you know, the neighborhood, the Desperate Housewives. That's what I was thinking about. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for the listeners who've been waiting for clarification on that, we now know he didn't mean it.
Yeah. Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. That was a lot of fun to go back in time and like share what we've loved about, you know, Magnolia.
You didn't even need a DeLorean.
No, we didn't have to do that. So hope you guys have found some value. Thank you to Lisa for being our 4th-time guest. Thank you, Justin Day, real estate as always. So if you guys found some value in it, please like, comment, subscribe. We'd appreciate it. And if you are ever thinking about moving to the area, anywhere in our Seattle area or the East Side, or Puget Sound, we got your back. Just reach out anytime. We'd love to hear from you.